Did you know that the Earth inner core stopped spinning?
What? No.
So
that's bad. That's not supposed to happen.
So the inner core of the Earth is not connected to the outer core. There's several layers, and the inner core just kind of spins around. I guess there must be some kind of fiery liquid.
Wait, what? That's what happened to Mars, supposedly.
And so now it's starting to go the other way around.
So it's just going the other way around.
I wonder what the ramification. I think, you know, like
it's happened quite a few times. The poles,
you know, like we have the poles, right? So we have the north. They can flip. The magnetic poles can flip. So I wonder if that's about to happen.
It might. It happens regularly. I was just watching a thing about it.
So here's Dr. Michio Kaku, my favorite name in science. Here he goes.
They analyze echoes. When an earthquake takes place, shock waves go reverberating around the inside of the Earth. And by analyzing these echoes with computers, you can recreate a model of the inside of the Earth. And sure enough, the core seems to be about to spin backwards.
Okay, but I read that this happens every 70 years, so we don't need to be alarmed?
That's right. The bad news is that we know very little about the core of the Earth, very little about what's underneath our feet. The good news is...
What? Why?
Could it cause strokes or heart attacks?
This is probably causing all the sudden deaths. Is there a vaccine
for this?
I hope so.
Probably there's nothing to worry about, in the sense that roughly every 70 years or so, we're not sure, the center of the Earth does seem to go backwards. If this is the core, this is the crust of the Earth that we live on. Yes. This is the core of the Earth. The core could move independently of the crust. That's the key.
So the part we're on never moves in reverse.
Yeah, so the core of the Earth sits in a pool of like molasses, and it's able to spin independently of the crust of the Earth. So, in other words, don't lose any sleep over this. Probably it's a natural cycle. It takes place probably once every 70 years or so. But we need more data because this is new territory for us.
Yeah, why do we need to know? I mean, they spent a lot of time, they studied earthquakes back to the 60s. Why is it important to know more about this? What are the implications?
The implications are potentially enormous because think of continental drift. Sure. Why are the continents moving away from each other? What is driving it? And also, earthquakes, the whole nature of the stability of the planet itself. We know very little about what's underneath our feet. Mm-hmm. And that's why this information.
Look at that. So there's the crust. Then there's whatever this is, that mantle. It says mantle. It spins west to east.
So if that was one unit and spun together, that would be a disaster because then it would go revert and the momentum of...
No, but at one point it was all going the same way and now it's stopping. And
just inside, but we're still going the same way.
Right. And then there's the liquid outer core. What is that liquid? Water? Can't be water.
No, it's melted.
Isn't it like lava or something like that? What they call it?
A bunch of lava.
Magma.
It's all lava, magma.
And then there's the inner core. I guess that's a rock, like a hard rock, and it's in the middle.
Don't know. They
don't even know that. They're not doing studies on this?
This might as well be. There's UFOs living inside the Earth because we have the same amount of information about both things,
right?
Like, what's it? This might as well be the Earth's flat because you literally have no idea about any of it. Like,
so let's listen. Watch what he says next. This is surprising.
From echoes. Computer analyze is very important because it tells us the future of the Earth.
What questions, finally, Professor, does this leave you with?
Well, it leaves me with the frustration that it's under our feet. It's just, you can almost touch it, but it is thousands of miles distance. And we really don't know that much about our home. We know more about other planets than we do about the center of the Earth.
Interesting.
Like we know more about other planets than we do about the Earth. Why? How do we know more about other planets than about our own fucking Earth? How do we know? Well, here, listen.
For example, it's probably frozen over. Not much earthquake.
He's talking about Mars.
Activity at all. So we know a fair amount about Mars. We know very little about the Earth because the Earth is dynamic. Things are moving and churning at the center of the Earth. That's why we have earthquakes. That's why we have continental drift and volcanoes.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about the Earth. We don't know that our the inner of the core of the Earth is stopping, and it's going to start turning the other way.
Well, hey, how do you know that?
What does that mean? Yeah, how do they even know that? Well, he just said because of the vibrations, and it's going to start spinning the other way. Is that bad? We don't know.
Well, it's got to be. If it happens every 70 years, it must be we just started now.
Well, how do they? But they don't even know for sure if it does that every 70. That's their theorizing. That's why he kept saying we think
the polls do like. As we watch about the poll, yeah, they like pretty regularly because there's some book that so somebody talking about that, and it's not what they were making it out to be. Some guy wrote it. It was called like the History of Adam and Eve or something. And there's a whole thing around it. The CIA, because the CIA had classified a portion of it, but it wasn't It was like some guy that worked there wrote his ideas in this thing, and it was like the same kind of classified documents Joe Biden would have in his next to his Camaro or his Corvette. So but there's whole rumors about it, whatever, and the guy had a lot of like bad. He cherry picked a lot of stuff, but there were a few things he was right about. But it turned out they're not end of the world things. They just happen all the time, like the pole shifting.
Well, let's look a little bit more into this. Made almost entirely of metal, specifically iron and nickel, its inner core rests 3,200 miles below the crust. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
I thought we converted from nickels to a digital core for the future.
Boy, America's thick. Separated from the mantle by the liquid outer core, which allows the inner core to rotate at a different speed from the planet's rotation. Researchers study seismic wave, we know that. The study's authors say they found that the inner core's rotation came to a near halt around 2009. That's because the first black guy got elected.
Oh, that's right.
That was a big deal. The Earth's core was like, what the fuck? And then it turned in the opposite direction.
A post-racial society.
Post-racial.
Yeah.
Since then, the author said seismic records, which previously changed over time, showed little difference. This globally consistent pattern suggests that inner core rotation has recently paused. We show surprising observations that indicate the inner core has clearly ceased its rotation in the recent decade and may be experiencing a turning back. There's little to indicate the inner core's rotation has much effect on humans.
Well, that's insulting.
Come on. But both researchers said that they believe there are physical links between all Earth's layers from the inner core to the surface. You think?
Anyway, why don't you mind your own business if it doesn't have much effect? You mind your outer core business and he'll mind his core business.
You have an outie core or an innie core? We hope our study can motivate some researchers to build and test models which treat the whole Earth as an integrated dynamic system. Well, of course it is.
They don't?
They don't already do that? That seems crazy.
Is it like a globe?
You know, it's all. I just love how people, like when I first realized that we didn't come like human beings, we literally came out of the Earth.
Yeah, right.
Like there was the Earth, and then there were rocks and water. And then if you somebody said it this way, if you come back a couple billion years later, there's going to be human beings walking around. So wherever you see rocks and water, you come back, you're going to see some human beings. That was the way
is what he's saying there, because this is more this vague. This might as well be the WHO story we just did of we need to surround. We need to build a giant drill car that can go to the Earth and restart it like that movie. Is that what he's saying?
I hope so, because that sounds kick-ass.
Yeah.
Why can't we make a car that can go to the middle of the Earth? Just put like a big pencil with the grinder, like they do. They build tunnels.
Yeah.
And this tunnel, because then I guess you get to that magma, that hot part,
as seen in The Core.
Hey everybody, we're doing live stand-up comedy. We're going to Tempe, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, New York, Cohost, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, and Washington, D.C. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.